Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first weekly episode of the year of Boom Rookies with Grub, presented by ESPN. Normally, I'd say come at you live from the Grub Hub, but my esteemed co-host Josh Reynolds is still on his American adventure. So for the first week, we'll be doing it remotely. You're currently in Dallas, Texas, Grub. Welcome.
Matty, how are you, brother? Well, I'd still call this the Grub Hub because it's my hub at the moment on my
Yep.
honeymoon. And
Wherever you are
as
is
you
the
can
Grub
see,
Hub.
we keep the room very clean, very, very clean. But no, yeah, mate, had an amazing trip. Obviously started off in Vegas last week. Seeing the doggies scrape through was awesome. Just seeing the whole experience of Vegas, mate, honestly. No matter what comes of Vegas, whether we obviously wanted to infiltrate the gambling part of things and the money. It's all about the money and the dollars for the NRL point of view. But just to start our season off there and to see what I'm going to be a little bit biased in to see what the Bulldogs, us as a club done over there. And we had so many events and the fans. It wasn't even just Bulldogs fans coming. We had whole KR fans. We had Leeds fans coming to all our events, and it's just a great way to kick off the season. So for me, it was a thumbs up. It was amazing, and just obviously had a couple of more little adventures into Chicago, Nashville, now finishing off in Dallas, and it's been a beautiful couple of weeks, mate.
Several of my favorite places there, Nashville especially. What a place.
Wow. What a play! I'll definitely say it has changed. I come there I'd say about 6 years ago, and it's definitely got a little bit more. They've understood how much people love it, so they've wanted to expand, and it's a little bit more commercial. But at the same time, live bands. Some of the songs that I was singing in some of those places, I don't know if everyone knows them. They're definitely not rock songs, but they can play. I'm going to say a shout out to. I forget their name. I think it was like Jelly Roll or some band out there. They played Usher, on the guitar. It was quite amazing, mate. So, been a brilliant experience and got to watch some footy in between, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. So in terms of Vegas, I agree. I went the first 2 years and it is great fun. I think one thing I noticed this year was they definitely didn't do as much talking about, we're going to break into the American market, because I think they've kind of quietly realized that isn't going to happen. So whilst it's not been the success in the way that they envisioned it, because I just don't think I just think Americans have their sports that they like, and they might go to a rugby league game if they're in Vegas for the weekend, but they're not going to, become a dedicated fan of the footy.
Yeah.
While that hasn't happened, and I never really thought it would, it has absolutely been a success in terms of it just being a yearly pilgrimage for rugby league fans to have a big, make their team playing a game of footy a big trip for them and their mates or their family or whatever. And if that's all it is, I think that's fine, because that this week, and if it comes next year for Para fans, Tigers fans, Storm fans, whoever else hasn't gone yet, it's a great week for you as a fan to go and do that thing. Now, having said that, when every team's had to go after next year, bar, I think it'll just be bar the Perth team and one other. But at that point, maybe they're looking to doing something a bit different. But yeah, if you get the chance to go to Vegas and your team's playing, you'll remember it, and it'll be a great week.
Mate, honestly, couldn't agree more, because I think, Volandis and crew have come out and actually said we're probably not where we wanted to be in the sense of breaking into the market, which is fine. As you said, the one thing I'll say about America, and I was just at a bar literally before, they love their sport. Every single place you go to, there's sport on. You sit at the bar and you watch sport. Whereas for us back home, it's like you go to a pub, you play the pokies, you can play the tab. There's a million things that you can do. It's more, whereas here they're there. It's either they're supporting their college, they're supporting their team. Everyone's there for sport, and it's quite amazing. I love it. That's why I love being over here. Okay, so let's take all that away. We might not get into that market, but like you said the word reward before. Give yourself a reward. Like you said, the teams that haven't been, next year, just go. Reward yourself, because being a fan sucks sometimes. You don't always get the wins.
It sucks most of the time.
Yeah, especially, but I'm not going to go there, because he's had a good win. I'm not going to go there. That's a low blow. Yeah. But it just rewards yourself. And, I think that's, we've jumped over that part, Matty. It's just go and enjoy it for round one for your team to be on the big stage? Because let's face it, you go there and on the MGM, Matt Burton's face was there. And that's cool. That's cool for Matty Burton. That's cool for our game. It's cool for the exposure as well. There's still that little bit of exposure. We're still chipping away. Big things don't come just straight away, but we're chipping away. It was just awesome scenes. We take over. I'm definitely saying that we take over Vegas. And for us as a game to do that, I know AFL, Rugby Union are looking at us going, we got to keep up because the NRL are doing this. And that's probably, where we're winning in that aspect.
Yeah, it's fortunate for us, especially compared to the AFL, that like our game can just be played on American stadiums. Because good luck for them finding somewhere in Vegas to play AFL that would accommodate 40,000.
I was actually just watching something in the background. I had to turn it off. There was a polo, so maybe they could play on polo fields over here.
Look out!
Not a bit, but very chopped up ground.
How many polo grounds have 40,000 seats? Yes. So Para Tigers, whoever next year, just go. And then after that, if it's global round and your team's playing in Dublin or London or Paris or Miami or whatever, just do it.
Let's go.
It's a bit of fun. All right.
It doesn't matter. Do we break into everything in the world? Like the NFL, I wouldn't say the NFL started this. I would like to say, they've been trying to break into Brazil. They're going to France. They're in everywhere. Have they broken into them? Probably not. Is there more people watching it after they see it? Probably. The number's going to be big straight away? Probably not. It's just a small process trying to break and trying to get a few percentage of people in that country to watch. And
even if we don't, still, if Souths play in Boston next year or the year after or something, of course I'll go. Like, what are you talking
You're
about?
going. You are going.
All right. So round one is in the books. We've seen everyone except the Tigers play a game of rugby league. I asked you who impressed you the most, and then after that, because we try to be positive, talk about which team that lost are you least concerned about.
Yes, we're a positive show. That's the one thing that I like about us. We don't really like to bag people, teams, this or that. We just critique in certain ways. So you asked me the question, who am I most impressed with? And people will say, they played the Titans, but I'm going to have to say the Sharks. I know I was at Shark Park. I know they were meant to win. I know the Titans are, in that phase we don't like talking about, maybe the rebuilding stage. But, man, Trindle looked hot. He looked on. Like
he's doing
play of the round. Play of the round. Fair to say, Matty?
He'd be right up there. He'd probably for sure. On the show with Camper yesterday, we were talking about he might be a reverse Samson. Samson got all his strength from his hair, but bald Braden Trindle he's unbelievable.
Well, he just said, Turkey, I'm not going.
Yeah.
He's just gone bang. He's gone down to the local barber in the Shire, and he's gone, I'm playing at Shark Park on whatever day it was, because I'm just not up to the days, whatever day that game was, bolt. And, man, mate, I could tell from the first few touches in his game that he was going to be on. I think he went kick, try assist, 2 kicks, try assist, then the show and go. And we've said this on the show multiple times last year. When someone steps up, whether it's Nico or him, Trindle, being the 6 or the 7, someone takes full control, I think the Sharks move forward. Then we had Brayley sort of take control last year, which was, I'm not going to say weird, but it was different. He wasn't the man. But then when we see Trindle, it seems like to me that in the off season, he just said, look, I'm a 7, man. This is my team, and I'm going to take full control. You could see from the kicks, you could see his control. But the one play that I will say that showed me that he's the 7 of this team was the last try before halftime. I think it was, he goes to the line, really nice lead line from the back row, a double pump. Nico Hines sweeps behind him and pops up and scores a try. That is Nico's sweeping both sides. Understanding that he injects himself when he needs to. And I'm just going to say, boys, for round one, for that play to be so smooth and silky is very hard because combinations are hard in round one. And he was brilliant. I thought the whole Sharks team looked really, really good. Look, we're not being negative, but the Titans' first half performance wasn't great defensively. Hene sort of come in and said, I want defense to be our main priority. It probably wasn't in the first at least 20. But I will say they scrambled well. They didn't just let tries in. They let a couple of inside shoulders that I want to speak about a little bit later in the show. There was plenty of them in the first round, but they tried hard. Second half fought back, but my team of the week, Sharkies, mate, too good.
Did you see the Hannay criminal defense signs at the press conference?
I didn't see press conference. Please explain.
Okay, so you know how sometimes there'll be little sponsor items on the tables at presses, like Gatorade bottles, trading drink bottles, or anything. The Sharks had a sponsor this week, and it was a law firm. And so on the and they were called, and it said Hannay Criminal Defense on these little signs on the table at the press conference, where Josh Hannay had to then go and sit down in front of when his team had just conceded 50 points.
Well, it's criminal because what do they say?
It was criminal defense
points, Matty.
You can't win the comp.
You can't win the comp. And apparently, so Hull KR can't win our comp also. I seen a few memes about that. But I love that. But I've also seen a lot of criminal billboards here in America. I was talking about it with my wife.
Mate, aren't the lawyer billboards over there just massive? They're everywhere. It's something else.
They are the superstars of America. Like, there's no Dallas Cowboys ones. There's no Micah Parsons. There's no. They're criminal lawyers. They are the man.
And they're as you said, they're stylized like they're like rock stars on these billboards. It's so funny. My most impressive team, I'm going to go with the New Zealand Warriors, particularly with how high both of us were on the Roosters this preseason. And ESPN posted our ladder predictions on their Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and there was a fair few comments from Warriors fans at the time, and then they all came back to it on Friday evening after the Warriors put on a score.
I love that.
I do. I love the passion.
So they should.
But yeah, there will be games like this where the Warriors are there at home at Mount Smart, just with a sold out crowd at night, their tails up, and they're feeling themselves. This was Tanner Boyd's best game maybe ever in first grade. Jackson Ford was fantastic. Leka Halasima coming off the bench, scoring a try with his first touch, and what a try it was as well. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck as well on the wings, getting 2 try assists as a winger. That's not easy to do. And just
great weird tries.
Yeah.
Weird tries, but great.
The first Harris Tavita one especially, that's great work down that left side. But this was just a sparkling team performance. And it's particularly impressive from the Warriors when you consider that they're still waiting for Mitch Barnett and Luke Metcalf to come back. And then even without those two guys, they just blew one of the premiership favourites completely off the park. And, Trent Robinson came out and complained about the refs and all this and blah, blah, blah. But, I think that was just deflecting from the fact that his team got comprehensively outplayed on Friday night.
Yeah, Trent, come on, man. You can't always blame the refs. We and I get it. We all get dud calls, but it's round one. The refs are a bit rusty. Everyone's going to be rusty. It's just what happens in rugby league. I'd be more concerned about a few of the effort areas in your team's performance. And look, but the Roosters are my team that I'm not worried about. You go over there, you go over into the cauldron of Auckland. And sometimes it gets you. The Warriors fans, they're on. It's cold. It's wet. It's windy. The Warriors have been training like this all preseason. They love it. They soak it up. But I said before that when we left our last show, Matty, I said, what do the Warriors got to do to possibly be a threat? They got to make Mount Smart a fortress again. Make it the worst place to play in the whole NRL, and they'll win games just off the back of that because it's tough. Teams that don't fly well, not that it's too far, but it just doesn't really. It's never ideal. I didn't like it, but I just thought the Warriors played brilliantly. Like you said, Tanner Boyd. What I loved about Tanner Boyd in his first, he's not probably going to be playing week in, week out for the Warriors, but he stood up, and one of his first plays was to show and go for a try. Very, very rare. Very, very rare does that happen in Tanner Boyd's game. But he shows and goes on Cherry Evans. He slides out and bang, there you go. It's try time, and I love to see that. Okay, let's go to the Roosters. I love Cherry Evans, one of the great halves of the modern era. I'm throwing it out there right now, but I will say one thing about Cherry Evans, and it was the Roosters' right edge that struggled the most. The Warriors had lots of joy going down their left. Cherry Evans is a defender. I'd like to say he's a bit jumpy. He's a bit like myself. I used to be the same, My inside and outside defenders would talk to me saying, mate, just stay square and you don't have to do it all yourself. But when you've been in the Des Hasler system, so our system, when we're under Des Hasler, and he was under Desi obviously before me, is 80% of the time all you got to do is take the back rower. You just got to take the back rower, and if he goes in, if he goes out, you don't even have to worry about the sweep line. You don't have to worry about anything. Just take the back rower, and I see that in Cherry's game a lot, and it just happened to me a lot because it's hard to get those habits out of your game. When you're young, coaches try and inbuild habits in you, like constantly saying, yes, no, this is what you do. And he still comes in his game. So I think that right edge of the Roosters is going to have to, link up, understand how he sort of defends, or Cherry Evans is going to have to peel it all the way back, which is very hard at the age of 36, 35, 30, to sort of come back. So I think we all talk about the Roosters and their attack, but defensively, if I was whoever the Roosters play this week, I'm going straight to that edge because there was
it's the South Sydney left edge this Friday night.
Probably the best edge in the competition right now. Let's just say after round one, I'll throw it out there. Let's just say we know where the attack's going. So look, I'm not worried about the Roosters. They're still the favourites for me. I know it's a couple of people say, "Oh, really?" After the weekend, they're going to find their way. The defense is going to be better. There was a few nice combinations of Cherry Evans, Walker, Tedesco. They did link up a couple of times.
Billy Smith looked sharp. I thought he was their best player, but
that was the only reason. That was the only thing for my partial negative for the Warriors. Their edge defense just let the centers dictate too much.
Yeah,
they were going to work. Billy Smith was great, but all in all, mate, I'm okay with the Roosters after that first loss.
Mine would be the Broncos. I know that Penrith went up there and did that, but Penrith had I don't know, 50 wins like that over the past 5 years, where they get on top and just grind the other team down. It was one of those nights where the Broncos tried a lot of stuff and it didn't work out. They've had games like this. They had games like this last year. Like, I know they won the comp, but people forget how down on this team their fans were at parts, particularly in the middle of the season when they think after 11 to 12 rounds when they were outside the 8. They'll have games like this where it just doesn't work out. I'm not worried about the defending premiers. And I find it I know a lot of journos don't like Michael Maguire, and there's already been knives out for him after one game.
After winning the comp. Crazy.
It is just and I'm not most of the journos who come on the show are I think are very fair, good people, but there are some out there who are just have an axe to grind with certain players, certain clubs, certain coaches, and you can see it after games. You can see the way some coaches are criticised, and in the way that some others escape criticism. And for Michael Maguire to be the person who was I saw had the most stuff written or said about him after round one in terms of coaches who lost in emphatic fashion, it is crazy. Because again, they won the comp last year. Yep. It's round one. They lost one game to Penrith, who have choked teams out of games in the way that they did on Friday night. They've done that to pretty much every team in the comp at some point over this last 5 years. So there's no shame in that. Obviously, they've got some stuff to figure out. It wasn't a good performance. I'm not making excuses for them, and nor do they want excuses. They know it was bad. But to go, how are Brisbane going to turn this ship around after one game? Give me a spell,
Matty. What did they also do last week?
Yep,
massive flight to England. Massive. It's a big, and you got belted. You got served over there. You wanted to win that game on behalf of the NRL. We are the better competition than them. Let's throw it out there. And you've got that, you got that baggage on you. You want to win that game and you don't. Yeah. You sort of you feel let down. Then you got to come back and go up against the Penrith Panthers, probably the best team of the last 5 to 10-ish years. It ain't easy. I will say I like Cameron Smith's comments. He's obviously at the Broncos now. In what vicinity we're not sure, but he said for the Broncos to win the comp again, every player in that team has got to go look in the mirror and see, are they in the same mindset as they were last year in of doing the little things, because it's going to be a whole lot harder. He said it. He's done it. He's done it before. He knows what it's about, and I like that because he's there. It's a little rev up. It's a little boys. This is it. You're the hunted now. So let's go. So I'm with you, mate. I'm not worried about him either.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Let's move on to some talking points from the weekend. Ethan Sanders, he got all 6 Dally M points in Canberra's Golden Point victory over the Seagulls, scored a try, and then looked like a 200-game veteran slotting that field goal. And I love left-footed kickers as a left-footed kicker myself, and he buried that. He looked great.
He's all left footed. He just looks so good. Like it's just something
it's
nice
just
about.
Aesthetically nice.
I'd like to see. You know what? On the show next week when I'm back, can we bring a ball in and somehow you show me a left foot kick? Like somehow, I just like watching it. It's like Darren Lockyer. It's like, when you're a kid, kids like watching Peppa Pig. I love watching Darren Lockyer's left foot.
Yeah, that's why I love Souths, because like all their kickers are left footed pretty much.
Yeah,
Trell, Cody, Jack White, Danny Humphrey.
Just smooth, but man, what a way to do it too. It was funny, wasn't it? You've obviously got Fogarty that kicked the match sealing goal to draw it, and he's like, you know what? I'm still the man here. I'm here at Brookvale. You guys miss me. You guys miss me heavy. And then the young kid on the block says, you know what? I'm the new number 7 here in Canberra, and I'm going to win this game at 4 Pines for my team, and just move like calmly. And this is what, being a young half in the NRL is chaotic, Matty. That is the one way I will explain it to you, because what happens is whether you win, lose, or draw, there's going to be 1 or 2 articles about you. One that says you're the next Andrew Johns. The second one that says he could have been better, and the third one just for no reason, someone just writes something about you. So you got to deal with so much stuff. You're juggling it all up. For him to go away in the pouring rain, was it a blizzard there? It looked ridiculous.
I was up in Foster for the weekend, and it was and before you ask, yes, I did see Jamal Idris.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a great sighting.
My mates who I was up there playing footy with are Dogs fans, and they got a photo with him, so that was good. But the TV at the pub I thought was broken when that game crossed the start of that game, because it was so hazy and so sort of like you could barely see. But anyway, he, in those conditions as well, he was great.
Yeah, he was. That's a big moment to ice. After especially Manly come back, rugby league's all about momentum at the moment, right? And Manly had probably upper hand with that final kick, but for him to have that first opportunity and just step up, like there was no pressure. I'm not sure what Manly was doing, or
there's a pretty damning angle of Paseka, who had a great game. But on that field goal is standing there with his hands on his knees, not putting any pressure on at all. So
I'm not going to put any emphasis on that, because I know how he was in the middle.
He carried that forward pack.
He was a big guy. He's a big guy, but I will say the one thing I loved about his game as well, Ethan's game, was the show and go. There was multiple show and goes this weekend of halves slicing straight through the middle.
The fact that both their halves now are running threats as well is really exciting for Canberra fans.
It's huge, and for him to show that, because what happens is, Matty, everyone will break down last week's game, and everyone will say, Sanders, show and go. It's show and go. It's on, even though it's not in your artillery. But because he's done it early, he showed his cards. So next time he might get a center or a back rower, or that just sits, and then he plays out the back. Weeks, bang! It's brilliant. I love to see it. This was the big question about Canberra this year. This was the big query for me. Can they do it? Can this young guy stand up and take ownership of this team in round 1? To do that is a big positive, and the Raiders were rolling, mate. They leak some points, but they do. They're that team, aren't they? The Raiders leak a fair few points, but they're for me.
Yeah, they're like coming back from 14-0 down, then blowing a 14-point lead of their own, then winning a gold point. Really, really quick before we move on, what do you think of Jake's headgear? I don't like it. I don't like looking at it. I think it's silly.
If it's going to help his head knocks, I like it.
Shout out to our good friend NRL Physio. I don't believe they do anything to help head knocks, but
Oh, really? He's wiped it.
Well, there are like, I mean, most people who are like actual concussion experts say that headgear doesn't do anything. So I don't know.
Look, man,
but
you know what?
But maybe if it gives you a mental boost, then why not?
Well, I also like, because just Jakey clearly doesn't care what he looks like. clearly.
No, I do love that. I love that.
No, but he's also thinks, you know what? Sometimes the game's about 1%, and if there's a 1% chance of him not getting a head knock, I'm going to do it. I'm the same. I probably could pull it off a little bit better than him, I reckon. Maybe a different color. It's just.
Let's get you one next week.
Talking about, we'll try and get one. Whoever makes that headgear, I'll do the whole show in headgear if we can get one. But it's also like the Beavers headgear. It was probably one of the most. Well, if anyone thinks of if I think of headgears, I think of Menzies and Beaver.
He's the first player I think of.
So there you go. Maybe it's a Manly thing.
Maybe, but anyway, I don't know. We'll see.
You're not happy with it. I can feel it.
Oh, it's fine. Like, and again, I like if he thinks it's helping the team and he's going to wear it because, as you said, he must know it looks silly. So good on him, I guess. But
I'm with Jakey. You're against Jakey. I'm with him.
I'm not against him at all.
I don't want to be chopped in half by him ever again.
Yeah, fair enough. And shout out, he was one of the only ones that really tried to put pressure on that field goal as well. Like,
standard. Love him.
All right. AJ's record. So now the Wayne Bennett came out and said he doesn't want people storming the field. He doesn't want it. And I guess he probably has to say that because he's the coach of South. AJ, I don't know if you saw this, was on the broadcast after the game on Sunday and said they can't find everyone who runs on the field. So he clearly wants them to run on the field. Now, I don't know if he'll break it this week. He needs 2 tries. But it is a very interesting situation because if they were playing, it is an away game, right? But if they were playing any other team, I'd be like, well, the fans of that team would get involved. Even Good Friday, I reckon the Doggies fans would run on and it would be a good atmosphere. But it is a Roosters home game. And if the roles were reversed and I was at a Souths home game and Daniel Tupou was about to break the try scoring record, I'm probably not running on the field to celebrate him doing that against my club. So, and I completely understand Roosters fans not wanting to be a part of that. However, it is quite genuinely a once-in-a-lifetime thing that we're going to see. So I don't know how it's going to be handled if he gets it this week. I think it would just be easier for everyone if he scores 1 try on Friday night and then next Saturday up in Gosford on a field that I've seen Central Coast Mariners fans invade many times.
No. You can't score he cannot be the top try scorer ever at Gosford Stadium. And that's no offense to our coasties because my wife's a coastie. We love the Central Coast. It's probably my second home right now. But the stage is set. It is set. Allianz Stadium, arch rivals. It happens this weekend. It happens. I'm telling you right now. Crystal ball stuff right here. It happens, Matty. I'm telling you.
Well, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay. Look, I am not condoning the running on the field because I understand the security breaches. It just cannot happen. But I would love for Alex to have that moment because I've also been cheered off the field before, and it is probably one of the best moments of my life. That is amazing. It was like nothing ever. Different circumstances, but, mate, way better for him. He's going to be the top try scorer ever. And who knows? He may not ever get run down. We don't know. But I'm just saying I would love it for him, but I also understand why we can't. And it's just one of those things where, can you imagine, set the scene. It is a draw. And the South, is he left edge?
Yeah.
Of course he is. Of course he's left edge. You're telling me you've got double lead lines, South out the back, Cody, Latrell, whoever wants to touch it on that left edge, and he finishes in the corner to win the game. You're telling me that place isn't going to erupt? Come on.
All right. Sign me up for that.
Okay. I want to hear it here right now.
Yeah.
Are you running on?
I couldn't possibly admit to doing something illegal on the show.
Wow.
We'll see what
that
happens.
was me. I would admit it.
Yeah.
But I know deep down, knowing you for however long you're it's probably it's fresh. It's only probably about a year. I know what you're doing.
Probably, I'll limber up beforehand. Let's just say that.
Make sure we don't want Hemis or anything being done.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But yeah, look, I hope the Roosters do the right thing, and honour it appropriately, because there were rumours, because there was that game in the last round of last season where he could have got it if he's got a hat-trick, and there was some scuttlebutt that like the Roosters were barely even going to acknowledge it if it happened that night. But, like,
you can't do that.
I think that some things are bigger than the rivalry, and like at the very least they'll put some stuff up on the boards and stuff. I trust them to do the right thing. I do.
They will.
I do.
I think they will.
All right. Let's get to our grub of the week, and this is an issue that both you and I are kind of annoyed by. It's something that's crept into the game a lot in the last 2 or 3 years. And the example we're using from this past weekend to highlight is the Tommy Gilbert, Dave Fafita double sin binning. Now, for some reason, in the past couple of years, it's just, referees have just decided that when they sin bin one guy, they've got to sin bin someone from the other team as well. And a lot of the time, the second sin bin is not needed or not warranted. And in this case, Dave Fafita flat out does not do anything. He just stood there and laughed when players around him were trying to escalate the situation. As someone that was involved in a lot of sort of scuffles like this with pushing and shoving and people laughing at each other, what was your take on this, and what was your take on the Dave Fafita sin bin and the sin binning of people not doing much wrong in general?
Okay, so yes, as a like I was call myself a professional scuffler.
Yep.
Is that? I'll take that.
I'm fine with that.
Professional scuffler. So let's look at the play. So what's happened is actually also is there a rivalry, South Dolphins? It was a bit on. There's a bit happening. I don't know whether it was round one or the boys.
The Wayne Bennett derby
had a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was okay. There you go. The Wayne. I didn't think
the
of that.
Lachlan Hubner derby, the Mark Nichols derby.
There just seemed a lot in it, and I love that. I think like the likes of Flegler and the boys just want to rip.
The Cody Nicarima derby.
The Queensland, like Fafita's left Queensland. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway. There was something in it, and I love that. But this is what happened in the play. Like there was a power bomb, there was an elbow, there was a wrist, there was all the critiques of the Michael Ennis grub in his book that he handed down to me.
Absolutely.
And then Fafita gets up and just smiles and sort of protected himself, I would say. And that was it. Right? Everyone runs in as you do, everyone bang, push and shove but I thought the ref was joking when he sent Fafita off.
Yeah.
What did he actually do?
I've watched it back.
Matty, did you hear what was the wording of the referee?
He said escalation, I think.
Fafita.
Yeah.
Fafita escalation. It wasn't about the 19 Dolphins guys that come in.
No.
You know, like poor little one of my good mates, little Brono Garlic, tried to stick up for him, but then he's seen the boys coming. He said
you've gone on with it. It's like, no, he didn't. What are you talking about? You know what? You could have been Latrell for running in and sticking up for his mate. I would have been okay with that. But Fafita quite literally didn't. I wouldn't have enjoyed the Latrell sin binning. Again, I think sin binning, this thing, how do you feel like this thing in general where they keep binning one guy from each side during scuffles? Because, I think that's the most ridiculous part.
Well, this is what it is. And this is what we're saying. Okay, and I don't like to say this, but I just feel the refs feel they need to.
Yeah, they do.
That's all it is. I feel the refs feel they need to because they can say my version of escalation compared to your version of escalation could be different. And that's what they say. But let's face it, Matty, come on. That was not escalation.
Yeah.
I know the little tricks, the little critiques where you can do a little trap their foot inside, little trip or something. But that was not escalation. And let's put an end to it, refs.
Yeah.
If you're going to send someone, send them. But live and die by your own sword. It doesn't have to happen. That was actually crazy. As a South fan, I'll be fuming. Because, Matty, after that, I feel you've lost the plot a bit. I actually feel South are an emotional team. Trell, Cody. And this is why you love them, though, right? Because they play on emotion. I feel I was very the same. But I feel the Dolphins they calmed down a bit, but then they went bang, bang. And then it was game on. So I feel that simming added to it.
Yeah, then when that's because at that point, Souths had retaken the ascendancy in the game after that. They'd scored. Cody Walker kicked that amazing 40-20. Hubner scores, Latrell scores, and then so Souths have got that buffer again. Then this double sin bin happens, and that they didn't. Yeah, you're right. The game sort of petered out from that point, but yeah, they did well to. By the way, real quick before we finish up, how did you feel about the Dolphins taking a penalty goal down 12 with no time left on the clock? Now I was okay with it, given you can't win the game. So you may as well get 2 points or whatever. Like I saw people go, oh, you can't worry about for and against. I don't think they were worrying about for and against. I think what they were doing was saying, look, we can't win. There's no point risking an injury on another attack on another set. But I've never seen the losing team take a penalty shot as the siren's going ever.
Well, when you say
I'm fine with it.
when you say you don't worry about for and against, I call bollocks. Of course you worry about for and against, because if you're even at the end of the season, what gets you into the finals?
Can you imagine if they make the finals by like one or 2 points?
Let's reverse this whole potty back to this moment. It's crazy saying you don't worry about for and against. Of course you worry about for and against. And percentage-wise, is it better if you are you going to kick a goal from there? Or are you going to put a bomb like everyone does and the winger just hits it over? You're not going to score.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Of course you worry about for and against.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
So it'll be amazing if they end up making the finals by 1 or 2 for and against.
Oh, I would love to. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. All right. What are you looking forward to this weekend? I won't talk about mine too much because it'll be Friday night, Allianz Stadium, South Sydney against the Roosters.
Yeah.
Hopefully that left side attack can take full advantage of a Roosters right edge that still is finding itself defensively. Hopefully the Roosters bring that ill discipline and poor completion rate that they had on Friday last week against the Warriors to this Friday. I think they'll be a much tougher proposition, but I'm hoping. The one thing I don't want, Josh, more than anything, the one thing I absolutely don't want is like the Roosters are up 32-10 with 3 minutes left and AJ scores to break the record. That's what I don't want.
Yeah. I think it is really hard to understand. No, understand's the wrong word. The South boys would know. They would be feeling this. They know it's around the corner. They know it's a big occasion. This is a big game, Matty, for a few reasons. For AJ, for the rivalry, there's, 2 fingers, sorry. And the third one, the Roosters have got to bounce back. They got to bounce back. They were embarrassed. Let's face it. I don't care what you say. You Robbo, blame the refs. They were embarrassed over the ditch, but it's fine. We're not panicking. The Roosters, I've still got the Roosters as heavyweight favourites, but this is a big occasion. The South will not want to let this slip. The Roosters will not want to let this happen. So, mate, it was hard for me not to say that's my most excited. I'm so keen. I'm so glad that I'm back. I'm so glad I'm back to watch this. But I'm going to say the Thursday night game, the bounce back factor.
Yeah.
Who's going to bounce back?
One of these teams has to bounce back. Yep.
One of these teams got to bounce back. Is it going to be the grand final winners, the Broncos that we know? They're going to come back and just smoke Parramatta by 50 like Melbourne did. Which is, I just didn't see that coming, by the way. We haven't spoken about this game a lot, but I did not see it coming, especially the way Parra started. And I like Parra. I like the way they're building. I like the Rolls factor. I like what he's doing. But Rolls has got to have him ready. You know, Jonah Peasant, brother, big game for you, man. It is a big game to stamp your authority on a game to the team that you're going to next year. Show them what you're going to bring. Stand up, put your body in front. There's going to be a lot of traffic. They sent a lot of traffic at you last week. There's going to be more. Don't worry about your offensive game. Stand up and defend well. Para, show what you've been building. You know, show what we've all seen. Show that the players that want to be there want to play for roles. And, mate, it's a big game. It's a big Thursday night game. Yeah, and I'm loving it. I'm very excited for it.
And one other thing I'm keen for, being back at Leichhardt on a Saturday afternoon should be a great afternoon. I told my mates I was only going to go up South Wing because I'll be a sook otherwise, but I'll probably end up going regardless.
You're going to go, but Tigers' first game,
mate.
We will like.
They're feeling some stuff. They're believing.
What do you think the Tigers are coming right now, Matty?
Are they coming? Well, they're coming ninth, right? Because they have a bye without winning any for and against points. Yeah.
So it is. I don't know what to expect from the Tigers. I've not got them in my 8, but I just don't know what to expect.
No,
I don't know what to expect. I'm excited. That is going to be a cracker.
All right, we did it, and next week we'll be back together in studio.
Can't wait, brother.
Can't wait. Hope you enjoyed your holiday, your honeymoon, all the work you did in Vegas, everything. What was the one? If you had to pick one highlight aside from the footy, what was it?
Oh, Chicago! Wow, what
great
a city! Just diverse, like so many different things you can do. I also today I'm actually in Dallas, and I done the JFK tour, which
cool.
was I love history. We drove around like to where it all happened in the streets, and mate, wow, blew my mind. Yeah, it was quite amazing. It's been a brilliant trip, man. But happy to come back and watch some footy and get back in the studio with you. That's the main thing I'm very excited for. Not gonna lie.
Thank you so much. All right, thanks everyone. We will be back next week. Say goodbye, Josh.
See you.
And it's goodbye from me.